Yeah. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Okay. Everybody can see the photo here. The pic what I'm showing right now on the screen.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. Okay. So when I talk about business intelligence, it's not just about Power BI. Okay. Business intelligence, it's an architecture. Okay. It's a combination of multiple tools. We call it as business intelligence solutions, right? Okay. And Power BI is a part of business intelligence. And then Power BI is a business intelligence tool. Basically, it's a tool which is used inside this particular architecture. Okay. And currently, the architecture which you are seeing right now is, I call it as modern business intelligence architecture. Okay. This is the modern cloud version of business intelligence architecture. Okay. And what is the old version of this? The old version of this is, all of you might have heard about SSIS integration and tools. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when it comes to SSIS, that's the old architecture which we had, and along with SSIS, we had Informatica on all as well, which is an ETL tools available in the market. Okay, but now, which I am showing right now here, it's completely a modern business intelligence Microsoft provided architecture, which is currently in use, which means we are leveraging Azure technology for Power BI solutions. Okay, that's the ultimate goal here. So if I just try to explain this particular architecture, this architecture remains same, be it in old architecture, be it in new architecture, the architecture pattern remains same. The only change is the tools which we are using. For example, in my modern architecture, I'm using Azure tools, but in my older, like let's say if I talk about the old version of architecture, I'm using offline tools such as SSIS and all. Okay, that's the only difference which we can see. And now, when we talk about modern architecture, where do we fall? Currently, let's say, for example, as a BA developer, your responsibility will be here, which is Power BI visualization. Okay, so you will be placed here, and this will be your job. And who will do the rest of the job? The rest of the job will be done by data engineer. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, the rest of the job will be done by data engineer.
Data engineering.
Okay, and again, let's go a little deeper. Okay, so what does this architecture explain to us is basically what is happening. We have data sources. Okay, let's say they are either on-premise data sources or data sources. Okay, so not to confuse you, like I won't go into much technical stuff. I'll keep it very simple for you. For example, what is a data source? Okay, assume we have DMart, right? Okay, DMart has systems. Every day they're entering details over there, correct, in the front end? Yes. Okay. So let's say, for example, we have DMart. So DMart, what they do, a front-end sales guy will enter some data. Let's say so and so product, so and so unit, so and so price. Okay, they will enter the product details in the front end, and this data, okay, this data will go and store somewhere. Correct. It can't be in the same system. It has to go and store somewhere. Correct. That particular application which they're entering. Okay, it is called as business application. Okay, it's a front-end business application, and that particular front-end business application will take that input, which is basically the sales data. It will take it and it will take and go and store it in a database. And what is the database? The database is nothing but either it can be an on-premise database, SQL database, or it can be a cloud database. Okay, clear? What is the data source? Are we clear?
Okay, sir.
Right, that would be the initial step, data source. Okay, and now if I talk about the modern architecture, what is ingestion? Okay, basically what you do, this is my on-premise or cloud database. This particular database is basically operational database. Okay, I can take this data into a visualization tool and I can start working, or I can store this data in some other place. Why? Because this is an operational database. I don't want to touch the operational database directly for visualization purpose. Okay. Okay. So what basically we do is here, this particular database, on-premise database, whenever they're having entries in the front end with the help of front end application, the data will not be in clean process. It will be a raw data. Okay. We'll have so many mistakes. We'll have so many null values. We'll have so many, spelling errors, etc. will be there. Okay. But if you directly connect your on-premise, like let's say, or your operational database with any of the visualization tool to consume the data, it will not be helpful. Why? Because the data will be in its raw format. You need to clean the data, you need to transform the data, then only that particular data will be useful for consumption. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And if we talk about larger terms, who will do this cleaning? Who will do this transformation? Who will do this loading process? Basically, it is called as ETL process. Who will do this? In any bigger companies, let's say if we talk about any big MNC companies, we will have a data engineering team who will extract the data from your servers and they will load it into a backup storage containers, and then they'll again store it in another storage container as to consume it. They will, after that is called as ingestion process. Basically, they copy this data from their on-premise SQL to a particular cloud service, and then they'll clean the data here. Okay. After cleaning the data, they'll create models on top of it. Here you can see analysis service. Here the modeling will happen. Okay. Here the data cleaning will happen. Okay. And then that particular cleaned data and models are consumed inside Power BI. Clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now what happened? This is a big architecture when you are dealing with big enterprise data. For example, let's say you're dealing with DMart or any such bigger companies. Let's say you're dealing with Walmart, etc. When the data is huge, this is the architecture. What you do, you have an front-end application. The data is coming into a SQL server, and then that you are copying the data into some online storage. Then you are transforming that data. Transforming means you are removing null values. You are removing some errors. You are replacing some spelling mistakes with the proper one. You are removing some columns which are not necessary. You are renaming some columns again. So this will be the transformation. Let's say, for example, sometimes what happens to achieve a particular output, you need to merge 2 or 3 tables. You will do that. And that's how you will do transform and you will shape the data. After shaping your data, you will create a model. Basically, what is a model? A star schema or snowflake schema. These are the 2 models which are currently available, which we generally focus on. Those models will be consumed inside Power BI. This is a big level architecture for a bigger enterprises. Okay. And what is, like, for example, to copy and transform, what we use ADF, which is Azure Data Factory we use. Okay, this is a big level architecture. But when it comes to, let's say you get a job in a small startup company, and for that particular startup company, the customer is a very small guy and the data is very small in number. Okay. And now what happens when the customer data is very small, let's say the client data is very small, he don't want this entire architecture. Why? Because his data is not huge. He can't afford this much big architecture. So for that, what we can do is Power BI has the capacity to perform all these operations inside Power BI itself. Let's say Power BI can copy data from SQL servers. Power BI can transform the data. Okay. Power BI can create models, and Power BI can load the data, which means all this entire ETL operations Power BI also can do. But whenever the client data is small in number, then only we will directly do this particular ETL operation inside Power BI. But if the data is huge in number, we will not do this operation inside Power BI. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now let's go and discuss about little bit extra inside Power BI. Okay. So this is a bigger picture, bigger architecture picture. Okay. So basically this is a combination of, like, let's say if you learn all these technologies, let's say if you learn about storage, like storage blob, if you learn about Azure Synapse, ADF, Azure Analysis Service, and Power BI, you will become an business intelligence architect. Okay. You will become a business intelligence architect, the position which currently I am working on. Okay. But for example, it's a combination of a business analyst plus data engineer. That will be the position. But so Power BI, what it can do is, if you're learning only Power BI, you will become a business analyst, not a data engineer. So what Power BI can do? Power BI also can do all these ETL operations. Inside Power BI itself, there is a tool called as Power Query inside Power BI, which will help you to do all these ETL operations inside the tool itself without writing any code. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So without writing any code, you can do all these ETL operations inside Power BI. Now, let's go back to the Power BI tool. Let's try to understand Power BI tool. Are everybody clear with architecture? Like generally how a project will look like, and what is the use of Power BI, and what would be the other scenarios? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Clear. Let me just go to demo project, which recently I have done a freelancing project. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
Power BI only work on small business applications, sir.
Okay. I'll explain that now. Again, I'll just come back to the same thing. Okay.
Oh.
Power BI can be used in small projects or very big projects. For example, if let's say if my client's data is very small business, which means here I'm talking about small business means the data sets. Okay. For example, let's say I have worked with Unilever. Okay. In terms of Unilever, I have directly worked with Power BI. We didn't use this particular entire architecture. Why? Because Unilever is a big company, but it doesn't mean that Unilever's entire sales data will come to you and you will perform the operation. No. For example, let's say when I was working, recently I got a freelance project also. In Unilever, there is a country called as Dubai, right? Dubai.
Okay.
In Dubai, again, there is a specific region. In that particular specific region, they want to understand how their product is performing in all stores against rest of the brands. This is the scenario. And now what happened? The data set is very small in number, which is a single Excel file. In that case, I don't need all these things, but I'm working with a big Unilever company. Correct.
Okay, sir.
So which means you can use Power BI with any company or a small company or big company, but basically it depends on the data set size. Okay. Let's say generally what happens in real time, what happens if you're working with TCS or any other big company, that doesn't mean that the entire company data will come to you. No, as part of it will come to you. When the part of it comes to you, the data will be small in number, but in any scenarios, if the data size is very huge, let's say, for example, the data size is 500 GB or 1 TB. In that scenario, Power BI can't handle that much. So at that point of time, what you will do, you will use Power BI in that particular project, but only for visualization purpose, you will use, which means for only analysis purpose, you will use Power BI, but to build model, to clean the data, you will not use Power BI. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Again, let's understand. If I tell a point by point, what are the capabilities of Power BI? Power BI can do ETL operation on a data. Okay, what is ETL? ETL means you are extracting the data, you are transforming the data, and you are loading the data. So Power BI can do ETL operation with the help of Power Query. Clear? First point.
Clear, sir.
Second point is Power BI can create models, which means, for example, this is the ETL operation. Can you see this one? Where my cursor is going on?
Yes, sir.
This is the ETL operation, and this is where modeling is happening. So Power BI can do ETL operation as well, modeling operation as well. And that is the second point, model creation. And what is the third point? What Power BI can do? It can create visuals. Okay, it can create visuals. Okay, it can do all the three operations. But when the data sizes are huge in number, generally people will go for ETL operations in this methodology. And for data model creation, they'll go in this methodology, and they'll still use Power BI for visualization purpose, which means Power BI has to there mandatory in any project, be it for visualization alone or ETL modeling and visualization as well. All the pointers. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Right. Now, let me just show you a sample. I'll just introduce you the how Power BI tool, etc. will look like. For example, if I just go to Unilever as well. So basically, currently the file which I'm showing it to you is, for example, there is a company called Unilever, okay, and this particular Unilever has given their rights to sell their products in Dubai region to some company called as ANC company. Okay, that particular ANC company has the data of this particular Unilever sales brand, so they can't analyze they by themselves. So they have given the work to me, which I have done and given back to them. Okay. Okay, so right now, can you see my screen?
Sir.
Done.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, let's try to understand how this particular tool looks like, the interface of the tool. Okay. And what does it do? Let's say I said 3 operations of Power BI. So what Power BI can do? Can someone repeat along with me? It can do ETL operation. It can do modeling. It can do
Visualization.
3 pointers it can do. Okay. And now if I talk about, this is the overview. Okay. We call this particular overview of Power BI as Power BI Desktop. It's an offline application which is available, which you can download for free and you can use it for free in your local laptops. Clear? This is called as Power BI Desktop. Okay. Clear. And now here you can see there are a lot of options available. Let's say visualization, and let's say here data. So we'll come back to all these pointers. Here you have 3 different tabs and you have multiple in the top ribbon, you can see insert, modeling, etc., etc. We have different pointers. Let's go point by point. Okay. First point is what Power BI can do. It can do ETL operation. Okay. So where I can do ETL operation? Here you can see an option called as transform data.
Analyze data.
Okay, so transform data. What does it say is use the Power Query editor to connect, prepare and transform data. Basically what it can do is you're getting inside Power Query, and what this Power Query can do, it can connect with any database, which is basically extracting the data, and then it can transform the data, which means you're shaping the data, you're cleaning the data, and then you can load the data into Power BI Desktop. Okay, so you use Power Transform Data. This is where if you just click on this particular button, it will take you to Power Query Editor. Okay, this is where you will clean your data or you will shape your data. Clear? This is the first step. What Power BI can do. This is called as ETL operation. Okay. So here, if you observe, there are a lot of options. Don't worry. We will, once we start with depth analysis, we will go each point by point, what each point can do. Okay. Okay. And here you can see an option called as new source. If you just click on the new source, it says Excel workbook as a data source, SQL Server as a data source, analysis service as a data source. Okay. Remember we saw in the architecture where SQL Server is an option, where analysis service, where I can directly connect with models instead of data. Okay. When the data size is very huge, I can directly connect with models instead of data. Okay. And text CSV, it's a file web version. And if you just click on more, there will be n number of, let's say we have more than 250 plus data sources available. Okay. So if you name any kind of data source, let's say Parquet, SharePoint, OneDrive, or Amazon Redshift, you have Azure SQL database also, you have Blob Storage as well, and you have Anaplan as well, you have a Salesforce, you have Azure DevOps, and there is no limit. They have more than 250 plus connectors. You can connect with Power BI. Okay. And for example, now let's say interviewer will ask a question in such a way, like whenever you're sitting for an interview, how they'll ask is, for example, let's say I have all these different connectors. Okay. But for example, let's say in my company, I am using a tool called as Agent Q. Agent Q is a business application. How can I connect my Agent Q application with Power BI? Because I can't find Agent Q here. If I just type Agent Q, I can't find Agent Q here. But if I want to connect my Agent Q business application data with Power BI, how can I do? So this can be an interviewer question. So how you will answer for such kind of questions? What you will do? I will use an API, okay, or I will use ODBC server. So these are the kind of answers you should tell to them. Okay, let's say for example, with the help of API, I can connect with any business application if it is not available by default. Can someone mute? I can hear a lot of noise in the background.
Yeah, can you mute yourself? Mute all.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so this is the first pointer, which is ETL operation, which Power BI can do. Okay, and now if I just go back, okay, I'm not getting into any detailing of this, what each and every option here will do to us. Look, we are not touching that. Okay, once we start learning, we will go deeper and understand how to clean and how each option will help us to clean the data, etc., etc. Okay, and I'm just closing it and just coming back to the same point. And now, well, the first point is ETL, right? Where you can clean the data, etc. So what is the second point? The second point is, after cleaning your data, you need to create models. So what is a model? Let's say it can be a star schema, it can be a snowflake schema. So where do you create that? Let's say you will create it here. Let's say on the left-hand side, can you see three different tabs? One is report view tab. Another one is data view tab. The third one is model view tab. Okay, if you just click on this model view tab, you will come to this place. Okay, you'll come to this place. This is a place where you will have all your table names. Okay, all your tables, and these particular tables, okay, with the help of these particular tables, you will be able to create a star schema. Okay, how star schema works, okay, we will see once we go in a little deeper understanding. So how a data modeling can be done. Let's say, for example, what is a dimension table, what is a fact table, and how star schema will look like, how snowflake schema will look like, what is the best use case we should use star schema, when we should use snowflake schema. All those pointers we will see once we go in little deeper and a little technical point of view, because it's a very vast concept to understand data modeling and all. During the process of understanding data modeling, we will learn about data warehouse as well. Okay, because data warehouse is a very important concept. Even though you're not a data engineer, but I suggest as a business analyst, if you have data, like if you have data warehouse knowledge, that will be very helpful during the preparation of data models. Okay, because for example, there will be in real-time scenario, it will not be as simple as like I have a dimension table, I have a fact table, I'll just club them. No, in real time, you will have a lot of problems. So for example, the problem will come like this. I have a dimension table, I have a fact table, but I can't connect them. So I need to find out a solution how to connect them. So such kind of scenarios will come up in real time. We will take one or two use case scenarios and try to understand how we can do those kind of, how we can handle such kind of real-time situations in the mean process. And during the course process itself, since I take interviews to a lot of people and I have given a lot of interviews to multiple companies. So I am pretty much confident in terms of saying what questions we can expect on Power BI. Let's say if like what could be the maximum pointers they can ask. Okay, so if I tell like, during the process of my course, like whenever I'm saying, let's say how I said for ETL, I just said one single question, right? What interviewer can ask. Like similar way, during the course process itself, I will keep on saying this will be the potential question, this will be the potential question, this is how a real-time question they will ask. So you can take notes of all those pointers and you can explore online, and you can ask me whenever we have time, we can discuss all those pointers as well. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So now,
Okay, sir.
now we are in data modeling, correct? So this is a data modeling is the second step inside Power BI. And now what is the third point? The third point is you will come back to your reports here, which is you will build visualizations. Okay. But to build visualizations, you need to do some analysis, right? Let's say, for example, if you want to understand how this particular 3-month trend is built, how Unilever categories store wise has been built. There will be scenario where you will just drag and drop your fields and build the visualization. But many other times you can't just build like that. You need some sort of logical calculations you need to do. Okay, you need to manipulate the data in such a way that will give the right output. So how do you do that? Okay, to build this visualization, our next important factor would be you need to use a language called as DAX language. Okay, you need to use a language called as DAX language, and that particular DAX language will help you to create measures and calculated columns. Okay, okay, basically, for example, in Excel, if you are, I think everybody is familiar with Excel, I feel. Okay, whenever you're working with Excel, if you put like in any particular cell, if you put is equal and start writing, let's say you will write sum if, count if, or some formula, like you will use VLOOKUP, etc. Right? Okay, basically that particular language is FX language, Excel language, right? Similarly, in Power BI, we have a language called as DAX language. Okay, we have a language called as a DAX language. And where do I use this particular DAX language? I use this particular DAX language in creating new measures, in creating new column, in creating new table. In these three param pointers, I'll be using DAX language, okay, to manipulate my data. For example, let's say in this particular category, in this particular category, I have so many categories, correct? I have so many DO, dressing, etc., etc. I have so many categories. But what if I want to find the sales of only DO category? Okay, only DO category. So for that, I need to write some DAX formula so that I'll be able to bring the solution for that particular pointer. In a similar way, there can be multiple use cases. Let's say I want to find the sales quantity happened only on January 1st, okay, or only on January 2nd. So there will be multiple pointers. For that use case, you need to use DAX functions. And how DAX functions will look like is, if I just go and show it to you, there are more than 200 plus DAX functions. Okay, but should I learn all the DAX functions? No. Okay, so currently here, this is a DAX language, okay, which is used inside Power BI. And the advantage of Power BI, like this particular DAX language, is it is not only used inside Power BI, it is used in Power BI. It is used in Microsoft Analysis Service, which is this particular point during the preparation of your model. In Azure service also, you'll use same DAX language. It's not something new language will come up over there. You'll use the same language. Okay. And like this is the main use cases of DAX languages. You will use in these two particular major services. Okay. In Excel, you will not use much. Again, in Excel, regular formulas will come up. Okay. And in DAX functions, let's say in DAX language, you'll have n number of DAX. Let's say you'll have more than 200 plus DAX functions. Should I learn everything? No. What should I learn? I'll tell you only those 50 to 60 functions you should learn in DAX language so that you will be able to do any kind of real-time project. Okay. So for example, we have segregated here. If you just observe, we have aggregation functions, we have date and time functions, we have filter functions, we have time intelligence functions, we have text functions, we have logical functions, we have relationship management functions. These are the major important functions inside DAX. And in this, again, if I just go inside, okay, each aggregate function, let's say inside that we have so many, let's say we have around here 20 formulas. Okay. So you should learn all these 20 formulas. In a similar way, if I go to each and every header, we have different formulas. We can understand, we don't need to learn all the 200 plus functions here. If we learn 60 plus functions which are available, you will be able to do any kind of real-time project in Power BI. Clear? And now The third pointer is, if I come back to again Power BI, okay, the third pointer is what Power BI can do. It can do visualizations. So what kind of visualizations? If I just click on this, here I have so many visualizations. Clear? Okay, here this is, let's say this is a different examples. I have pointers. I have here, I have visualizations, so I can build different visualizations. Let's say I have a stacked bar chart, I have a stacked column chart, etc., etc. I have, you know, a line and custom column chart. I have a pie chart as well, or donut chart. I have a cards, I have metrics table, I have table, regular table, I have a slicer, I have a maps visualization, I have a smart narrative, and I have a question Q&A. I have Power Apps, Power Automate. I have an OR visual, a Python visual as well, and I have an key influencers as well, and I have a metrics as well. So there are so many visualizations available. We should able to understand for which, for what kind of data, what kind of visualization should be used. Okay, for understood, for what kind of data. Let's say if let's say for example, somebody said I want to understand the data, let's say for the sales from June to August. You can't just give any kind of data. It's a time series data. When it comes to time series data, you should use particular kind of visualizations alone. You can't use any other. Let's say I'll go and use slicer. No, it will not work. I'll go and use table. No, should use a specific visualization when it's time series data. Should use specific visualization when it is a percentage kind of data. When it is comparison between two parameters, you need to use a different kind of visualization. So which we will learn going forward, what kind of data, sorry, what kind of visualization we should use for what kind of data. Clear? Okay. And we have another option called as format. So whenever you clean, you prepare some sort of visualization, you need to clean the data. Like you need to keep it clean. You need to design your page in such a way that it should look, it should be appealing for everyone. Okay. So I have just, he created different parameters here. You can just see this is a slicer, and this is a table I have created. Sorry, this is a slicer again. So both of them are slicer, but it looks too different. Let's say this is a drop down slicer. This is an list slicer. Okay. So that's how it looks. Okay. And if we just go inside, we have a little drill down, drill up, drill through, lot of other parameters also we have. And this is one, it's an artificial intelligence visual, which is available in Power BI, which will give us analysis based on the drop downs which we give here. Okay. For example, it says when a particular brand will be better during what process, etc., etc. Okay. So this is basically what a visualization will look like in terms of Power BI. Okay. So we will go on, we will keep on learning what kind of data, what kind of formulas we should use, what kind of DAX language, how to manipulate that, etc., etc. we will use. Okay. That's not a big deal. We will be able to understand, and it's very simple as well. And Power BI will be the most simplest tool to understand and learn, and in this particular time. Okay. Clear? And now I'll just explain you another pointer as well. Whatever I have said till now is all about Power BI desktop. Okay, Power BI desktop. But for example, I have downloaded this particular Power BI desktop. I built this particular visualizations, everything. And now I want to share this particular file, like report, okay, this particular report with someone in my organization. And let's say I want to share with 10 people. I can't keep on sharing this particular PBX file with them and ask them to download it in their desktop and open, right? You should have a mechanism, right? You should have a cloud service so that those people also can view it in real time. So how to do that? So again, the same Power BI, let's say this desktop is free of cost, but if you want to share this particular file, I need to explore and I need to solve the problem. So which means it's a continuous learning process. Even either me or you, nobody is 100% perfect in any technology. You have to keep on learning. You have to keep on exploring internet and learn. You need to learn the stuff. Clear? It's not like you will learn everything 100%. You'll start working. No, you learn basics, start working, and then you will explore the thing. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Right. So these are the main pointers which are important when it comes to, let's say, Power BI. and I think I pretty much covered like everything. And now, if like, yeah, okay.
A
And
small doubts, sir.
yeah, if you have any kind of doubts, please do ask me, like in terms of how the work environment will look like, or any like your doubts about like how the tool works, etc., etc.